Quiet on set.
She
And we're not going to cut that one out. You've heard about Stefan's daddy's buddy, but who is Stefan Thedorf? Today, we'll answer that question. How did Stefan become a PGA professional? What are some of his coolest experiences caddying on professional tours? And what about the greatest courses he's played? Welcome to episode 5 of Sandbagger Sessions. No, I don't need to clap now. Oh, we got the setup. We got the setup.
you cleared your clap.
Alrighty, g'day everyone. Welcome back, week 5, and Stefan, great to have you here again. Excited for today's episode. Ryan French last week, that was a blast.
Yeah, it was fun. Thanks for having me back. It's always nice coming here and coffee's ready.
Yeah.
Water's cold. Haven't been offered a beer yet.
Toilet bowl's clean.
Well, Ryan was great. One of those guys we could have talked for 2 hours.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
sure we'll bring him on at some point throughout the season. I've been kind of going through and lining up a few guests, waiting kind of once the new year starts over and get through this and get through the holidays and then try to get a guest on maybe our other week. But it was great. Loved it.
Absolutely. And in the meantime, next 2 weeks, well, starting this week, we're going to do Meet Sandbagger Sessions. So today I'm going to throw some questions at you. Next week you'll throw some at me. Before we get into that, let's do what we always do, a bit of a recap. As always, lots happening in the golfing world this week. And just yesterday, actually, first one I wanted to touch on was Mito Pereira, the Chilean golfer, former PGA Tour player, went across to LIV, got relegated from LIV last year, 30 years of age, and announces his retirement yesterday.
Yeah, I've seen this song and dance before. I don't think it'll be permanent. A lot of these young, you see it a lot on the LPGA Tour. We joked about it with Ryan that you get to the kind of last 6 weeks of the season and you go on the range and you hear it like, this is probably my last year. It's probably my last year. And I remember hearing that in 2022 and half those people, if not all of them, are still playing. A little different for Mito with the ladies tour. They don't have the bank account this guy obviously had. He signed a pretty big contract going to LIV.
20 million, I think.
If he did retire, let's say he's fully retired, right? Like maybe he knew this was his plan and that's why he did that. And now he's set for life.
Yeah.
Right? Like 20 million, he can do whatever the heck he wants going forward.
Mm-hmm.
So pretty sweet. Do I really believe it's going to stay permanent?
Right. Yeah,
I don't know. I really don't know. 30 years old is you're going to get the itch.
That's young. And I mean, I think, we'll put a clip up if you don't remember. He was leading the 2022 PGA Championship. And for me, one of the probably, I don't know, I might get roasted for this, but probably one of the biggest chokes, you've seen in the last 10 years on the 18th tee.
Can we is it a choke or just one of the worst decisions made?
Yeah, fair. I mean, a mental choke, physical choke. Either way, it's a choke. He's 1 stroke lead going into 18. Just this driver swing.
Cut shot, and this is a strange follow-through. I mean, that is frightening follow.
I mean, it did not look like a professional golfer. It didn't even look like a good amateur golfer, that driver swing. Hits it into the creek, makes double bogey. JT eventually wins in a playoff versus Will Zalatoris, but a lot of people are saying that was sort of like he was never able to dig himself back out of that hole.
To make that decision
and
costing yourself, in hindsight, obviously now, like your only opportunity to ever win a major, it's tough. And I'm sure that probably played a huge part in where he's at right now and probably why he played a huge part in when he went to LIV.
Mm-hmm.
But he obviously wasn't going to get back onto LIV. I'm sure LIV's rules are a little suspect at best.
Little loose.
If he had a good year or a decent year, let's say, or was a multi-time winner out there. Did he ever win on LIV? I actually don't recall.
I don't think he won.
No, it doesn't. I mean, he had 13 professional wins in his career. A lot of those, Chilean tour wins.
Yeah, many tour wins.
His last win coming in 2021 at the BMW Charity Pro-Am. Apparently that's on there, but his only real win on the PGA Tour I never actually won on the PGA
No,
Tour
didn't
either.
win on the PGA
so his
Tour.
last win would have been Corn Ferry Tour, the Rex Hospital Open, or this BMW Charity Pro-Am. I assume it's a real tournament. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not deep in the weeds on the Corn Ferry Tour tournaments.
I mean, like, for me, one last thing I'll say on this. There's two sides of the same coin. On one side, you look at his resume, and we spoke about this last week. Obviously, an incredibly talented, good golfer. But when you look at his resume, basically no major tour wins or mini tour wins. He architected his way into LIV, got his bag, and is taken off. So on one hand, man, good on you, well done. On the other hand, it's like retiring at 30 years old. Did he ever really love the game? Like that's, and like you say, we've seen this before. Potentially it's not permanent, but at 30 years old, I've always got a question. My history's not in golf, it's in other sports, but, someone pulling the pin at 30, something's not right there.
I'm sure as a, European, someone from Australia, wherever you are from, Latino, whatever, now you're living in America, different culture, you're traveling all the time. You don't get to see family as much. It's not easy life. And if you're given $20 million and you're like, I'm not sure if I want to do this anymore, it's a lot easier to say goodbye to. So would I have done that? Absolutely. You're telling me I don't have to work anymore at 30?
Oh, I agree. If you gave me that, I would. Yeah, absolutely would take it.
I'm creeping up on 40, and I'm like, I see no end in sight. Not because I don't want to, because I don't have, don't have that bag set for me. So I don't know. When I saw it yesterday, I was a little shocked, but at the same time, where was he going to go? He had no status anywhere.
Yeah.
Again, I would not be shocked if this is in a year. He's like, I got the itch again.
Yeah, we'll come back here. Maybe we'll revisit what it'll be. Probably episode 55 next year, and we'll see. Yeah. We'll see if the call's correct.
That's a good over-under. Let's get over-under. Episode 55, will he have unretired or not?
Will he have unretired?
Will he pull the Lexi?
So next thing, obviously, entering this time of year, there is a new club cycles, things coming out, new equipment, new gear. Tell us a little bit about what you've seen recently, to the extent that you're allowed to tell us about it, and what you might be excited for.
Yeah, a lot of new drivers coming out this year. A lot of companies coming out with new wedges. Obviously, new putters coming out. Scotty Cameron just released their holiday putter. I picked one of those up. I should have brought it. It is so sexy.
Oh yeah, we're giving one of those away.
Whoops. But yeah, like you can go on Golf WX. You can go everywhere. You can see some of these new drivers. I was able to test one last week, and it's a weapon. It could be. I mean, obviously it's the first one out, and everyone else that's releasing ones, they're going to be hopefully improving on what they had out. But you can see the driver I'm speaking about in Nelly Corda's bag. It's on the USGA conforming list now, but there's a lot of really good stuff coming out, and as they come out, I'll try to test them and give everyone a little bit of a breakdown. But it's an exciting time of year to be a golf nerd and just be looking at what's in the bags on Golf WX. They do a great job of getting out tournaments, taking pictures of stuff like that. That's one of my guilty pleasures is and diving deep into the forums of like, oh, I saw this, I saw that, look what's on the conforming list. And Ryan Barath always does a good job on his Instagram posting when those new stuff comes out. But yeah, it's a big year for certain companies like TaylorMade. It was no secret that the QI 35 wasn't their best driver they've released in a while. It's always tough when you got your best players not playing your new driver.
Well, I mean, I feel pretty strongly about this too. It's always tough when you're trying to bring out a new driver every single year, but that's a whole other thing.
I also think I'm going to predict you're going to see a change in the next year or two into life cycles. So TaylorMade and Callaway are brands that are currently still on a 1-year life cycle for...
Oh, Callaway's on one.
Yeah, so for drivers, they'll come out with a new one every single year, right? Ping, Titleist, as the other kind of two
major brands,
4 that are constantly releasing stuff. They're on those 2-year life cycles, and I wouldn't be shocked if we see that the change for most brands to go to that 2-year life cycle. Cost of things is going way, way up, right? So it's very hard for a consumer right now to buy a driver 1 year and then go buy a driver.
Well, especially when in Canada they're $1,000 now.
Yeah, and that's the other thing to be. I'm going to call it something I'm monitoring is if you look at the price difference from the States to Canada, there is quite a discrepancy. And now, yeah, there is product coming across the border and there's tariffs and all these sorts of stuff that these companies are having to deal with. And they, every once in a while talk about, hey, watch out, like prices might go up, but it's gotten to a point where like the used golf market is becoming insane too.
Yeah.
Right. Because of that, right? Like there are always going to be your golf sickos that buy new sets of irons every single year. It's an interesting time to see where we go within the equipment market of how often people are releasing stuff, how often they're coming out with new stuff, what these small changes are. And, they have the best of the best in marketing, but certain brands are of the mindset like, hey, if I can't actually beat that, I'm not going to release it. I can think of I'm not going to dive in and say this brand's doing better than this brand, but I can think of a few brands where they've had a specific iron that they haven't changed in like 3 or 4 years because it's working, right? And it works on the tour level, and it's a very niche model, right? That they keep going every single year. What can other brands learn from that? This is, 12, 13 years ago. I remember the first set of irons that was $1,000, and we were like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Right?
It's double that now. At least double.
Almost 1.5 now, right? There's like to drop $2,500 on a set of clubs. Like, at what point are big box stores going to start offering financing?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, it's going to be.
I'm surprised that hasn't happened already.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's an interesting time in the equipment space for sure.
So just quickly, drivers this year, we've got Titleist, which
you should see a new Titleist driver this year based on their life cycle.
Yeah.
Right. The GT
series came out 2 years ago.
So based on that life cycle, I don't have any information on that.
Yeah.
It's not on any conforming list or anything, but just based on history.
Well, I do remember Titleist typically, I think 2 years ago, the GT was announced. I want to say it was publicly available in July. I mean, it's more summer than spring.
They're usually later in the season, but yeah, you should see new stuff from basically all the big manufacturers. You're going to see new woods out this year, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, yeah. So if the life cycle is correct, we'll see Titleist, we'll see Ping.
I think Ping. I'm trying to think. I'm wondering. Ping is probably going to be. I would assume maybe the following, early 2027, super late into 2026, but probably more early 2027.
And then obviously we're going to have TaylorMade and Callaway doing the yearly thing. Some of I shouldn't say lesser known brands. These are very, very good golf clubs. Strixon, Mizuno.
Yeah, I don't know what their plan is.
Okay.
I'm sure Mizuno would love to take be a bigger player in the woods market.
Yeah.
They just never really have for some reason.
Excellent irons.
Oh, some of the best feeling irons you could grab.
Yeah.
I'm sure maybe this is a question later of like what's a club that got away from you?
Yeah.
That you're like, I wish I had that back. I just said a Mizuno MP18's super small cavity back that like I just wish I still had.
Yeah.
They were just so soft. Yeah. And it was one of those ones where you just grab them, bought them off the shelf, and they just worked right away. The shaft combo, everything. So it was great. So, those in Strixon, same thing. Strixon made a huge jump in the market this year, especially with their irons.
A lot of good feedback on their driver too.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's, I would say a unique sound. But performance wise, if it works, people are gonna play it.
Yeah, for sure. Cool. Last one before we get into our interview this week. Titleist Performance Institute came out with a new video. You're a Titleist playing professional. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, playing professional, maybe not, but
golf professional?
Staff professional, golf professional, sure. No, it's just super, super interesting video at TPI. I think these videos are awesome. It's about an hour and a half.
Okay.
And it's with Thomas Rosenmuller. He's playing on the PGA Tour this year. I think he got his card, or played last year. I forget. But basically what I found super interesting about it was very much all about putting. And a lot of these videos are more about
ball striking,
club head speed, different ways to move your body. And this was purely, they did so many tests about their eyes and whether he sees things. And I'm not going to use the technical terms because I don't know them and not smart enough and I'd say them wrong. But basically, they did a bunch of testing if he's seeing things that appear closer or appearing further away.
Okay.
And for him, it looked like everything kind of appeared slightly closer. And how did that affect his putting? And he basically said like he made one putt. His longest putt all year was 20 feet, right? And outside of that, he just never made anything. Great leg putter. He just could not figure that. So they're just, it's super interesting. Highly recommend watching it. And it's definitely going to make you be like, I got to go get my eyes checked.
Yeah.
Super, super interesting. And yeah, all their videos are great.
Well, Christmas holidays, hopefully if you're watching, you're getting a bit of a break from work or whatever it is you do. Great time to pull up the YouTube channel. Yeah, I've seen some great videos from them. So awesome. Good shout out. All right, let's get into this. I'm really excited for this. I've got a bunch of stuff written down here and didn't give it to you in advance. So we'll see how this goes.
Yeah, for sure. No, look forward to it. We'll dive into our golf life and how we got here.
Yeah. So yeah, good segue. First, just give us a bit of a general overview. So in our first episode, you mentioned you started, I don't know where you started playing golf or kind of getting into golf, around the age of 20. So tell us a little bit more about that, like the origins quickly, and then the moment that you were like, hey, I want to take this further, like work in the golf industry, become a PGA professional.
Yeah. So I started, first time I ever played a round of golf, I was, 19 or 20 years old, and basically some buddies from high school that probably had lost touch probably through high school, went to elementary school with them, but always enjoyed their company, got hanging out with them in university again. And they went out for a round of golf and they wanted me to come. I was always, I think I mentioned, grew up as a skateboarder and doing a lot of that stuff, and your knees taking a beating and your back and everything. So yeah, went out and played golf with them. I remember my buddy Mike telling me, you got to wear a belt, because I always would just wear like a shoelace as a belt, being a skateboarder. A
shoelace.
Yeah, it's very big in skateboarding.
That's very typical of you.
Yeah, very skateboarding. And I remember him being like, yeah, you got to wear a belt. I was like, okay, fine. So borrowed my dad's old set of clubs, and we went out to, a little bit of a goat track, and I remember just having a blast, right? You can have some beers out here. You can do whatever.
Yeah.
And I remember like, everyone has that first shot. And I remember I had one par on the day. I think I shot like 146 or something like that. And I'm putting par in quotations because I hit driver on a par 4. Hadn't been able to really hit anything else all day. Teed it up in the fairway. The driver came up short of the green and somehow found a way to putt it in. And then, from there, I think we played 3 times a week that summer. It was just like instant hook. And I don't really know why. I think probably because it's still that individual aspect, similar to, skateboarding, water skiing, whatever. You're only really reporting to yourself, right? So just played a shit ton after that, and then went to university and played a little bit when we were at school, and then came back and was obviously deep into it, constantly buying stuff, and ended up getting a job over at Golf Town, and was just part-time, and eventually, was learning everything about it and just was curious. And I think eventually, they eventually offered me a full-time job there and ran the club department there for a couple of years, got into club fitting and everything along those lines. And yeah, definitely thought at that point, like, I'm going to make a career out of this. Well, the golf industry isn't known for you being rich by any means, right? So ended up from there going into tech, where we would have met each other, and worked in tech for almost a decade, but always had ties to the golf industry. So I was still doing I remember doing some caddying on the PGA Tour Canada back then, was still doing some club fitting stuff, helping some of the club manufacturers at that point if they ever needed somebody on the range. So I eventually started my first podcast with Scott McLeod with Flagstick, and became a golf journalist all of a sudden. So I was doing we did that for about 3 years, 150 episodes, met a ton of people, and always thought like I wanted to stay here, and I just couldn't figure out how to do it without it being an absolute ding to my bank account or being on the road. Like I thought, I remember when I was doing caddying, people being like, do you want to do it full time? I was like, do I want to? Yes. Is it
feasible?
Is it feasible to be on the road 25 weeks a year? Like, it's one thing when I met my wife in university, right? It'd be one thing if she met me and that was my job, right? You can adjust to that, but to have where you're always home, you're always together. Now you're
I'm
gone
going to be
half
away
the
for
year.
half of the year.
It doesn't usually work. It'd be one thing if I was playing on the PGA Tour.
Yeah.
And she always said, like, yeah, sure. If Rory calls you, sure, you can go.
Yeah.
And he never called.
Well, and just sorry to interrupt there. Like, how did you, because, like, you see these players on TV, you see the caddies and everything like that. You're like, okay, my intuition is like, okay, this is and maybe it is like a very exclusive thing. Like, how did you get those ins? How did you get the call to go get on someone's bag?
Yeah. So before, like, I'll answer how most people go their process and how I ended up doing that. So most people's process is, like, all the guys I know that are out there, basically they started on the lowest level tour. So whether that is, if I look at Taylor Pendrith's caddy, it's his best friend from school. He basically said, yeah, no, I'll come caddy for you all the events on the Canadian tour. And as he worked up, he just kept going with them. A lot of guys will go start out on what is now, I believe, still called the Epson Tour, which is the lower level LPGA tour, work their way up to the LPGA. A lot of guys will stay out there forever. They love it out there. A lot different. And then from there, maybe you'll get the call up. It is a super small fraternity. But that's how when you're able to go out on those lower level tours, you can make mistakes. And it's not as big of a deal. I was basically thrown right in the fire. Obviously, I had caddied a couple events out on the PGA Tour Canada, knew a little bit about it. Definitely was more of a bag carrier than anything. Yeah. Right. And then we were covering the Canadian Open in 2019 at Hamilton. And I made a joke to somebody. I think it was one of the higher ups at Golf Canada. Yeah, I'm looking to get a bag this week. Just as a complete joke. Yeah. Right. And he's like, oh, there's actually guys looking. And I was like, oh, interesting. I had no idea what I was getting into. It's like, didn't think anyone would actually call. And I remember it was Tuesday night, just laying in bed, and all of a sudden my phone rang, and I missed the call. I was sleeping. It was like 11 o'clock, and I called them back. They didn't answer, but basically it was a player named Martin Traynor, just won on the Puerto Rico Open a couple weeks prior. Yeah. Which is crazy that you're a winner on the PGA Tour.
Yeah. So to put that in perspective, not like we see, the Scotty Scheffler and Ted Scott, the Rory and what's his caddy's name? Harry. Yep. Yeah. And you just, for me, automatically assume, like, okay, these guys are paired up. Yeah. But obviously not. Like this guy. I mean, Martin Traynor. You've spoken about him before.
Journeyman,
Journeyman, Puerto Rico Open isn't exactly a high-level PGA Tour event. It's still a PGA Tour event. He still won on the PGA Tour.
Still won before, you name it. Yeah. Still won, quicker than Cameron Young won. Yeah. Or, it's crazy. That's how small these margins are.
And he's on the Tuesday of the Canadian Open, and he wants you on his bag.
Yeah, he went out on Monday that week and grabbed a fan. And a random guy or a volunteer, just a random guy carried his bag while he played practice round. Yeah. Right? Like that. And if you got to know the guy, and I haven't chatted with him in a few years, which is totally fine, pretty normal. If you got to know the guy, it makes sense, right? Just like, this guy will carry my bag. Yeah. Right? That's unheard of out there, right? Like a lot of these guys travel with their same caddy. Yeah, there is a lot of turnover. Right? We talked about it before. It's kind of like a coach in sports. If you're not playing well, what's the first thing that can go is the caddy or the coach. Yeah. Right. So, so basically called, and then the next day says, maybe at this time we'll go practice and we'll go play in the Pro-Am. And I was great. We get the Pro-Am. I'm going to get to learn a few things. I'm going to get the nerves out of the way, meet some people. Cool. We played one hole and it started to pour. And so then basically we were like, okay, we'll go inside. We'll wait out for an hour. Like, nope, day's canceled. Everyone go home. Basically, there's a big lightning thunderstorm. No one's going back on the golf course. Cool. So my second hole of caddying on the PGA Tour was Thursday
in the tournament.
And nervous as hell. I remember this is a little inside baseball. You'll see it out there, but when players are going to a tee box, you'll notice all the caddies will bring, for a right-handed golfer, they'll all bring the clubs to the right-hand side of the tee block. Okay. Left-handed will often go over to the other side. right? It's a very small thing that you really won't pick up on unless you're out there. And I remember going to the wrong side and looking like an idiot and didn't pick up on it. He didn't say anything until we started walking to the fairway. He's like, hey, do you want to look like an idiot today? Here, I'm going to tell you a couple things so you don't look like an idiot. And that was the first
That's
one.
cool, though.
Yeah. Here's the first one where it's like, put the bag over there.
Yeah.
Right. So, yeah, just ended up, and we don't need to go shot by shot or hole by hole. Ended up missing the cut. Really cool experience. Wasn't even expecting a paycheck, right? Just thought, hey, I'm going out, cut me a paycheck. Didn't need to, right? I really did nothing. I remember grabbing my yardage book that day. And I still had to work. We were covering the Canadian Open for Flagstaff that week. Yeah. And we were doing podcasts, I think, every single day that week. And I went into the media room because I didn't feel I should be going where the caddies are, because I was like, I'm a phony. And I went up to Scott McLeod and said, teach me how to read this yardage book. He's like, you've never seen one? No, never saw one.
And I mean, I guess for context, the yardage book that we're talking, it's nothing like one of these ones behind here, right?
So like a regular yardage book on the, like if you go to a course, right? So I don't know how many people can see this. It's kind of showing you different numbers to the front of the green. Well, what you're looking for on the PGA Tour is every single sprinkler head's going to have a mark in the book. Different bunkers going to have a mark in the book. It is quite extensive, and that's just the free one. There is one that you can pay for every single week that is even more money than that. And then back then they also had the greens book, which is another, I don't know, $300.
That's like the undulations and
it was all the numbers, and eventually that's no longer in play. They've kind of banned that. But and I remember, trying to seeing the other caddies taking notes, and I had no idea what they were writing down. And so after that just was like,
you're just doodling.
Yeah, pretty much. So I remember after that chatting with some buddies like for the next event I did, and making sure, learning what they're writing down, and yada yada. And then as we get in the next event, definitely felt more involved, and the next event was even more involved. And then you go to someone new, and then you feel like you're ready. And
right. Yeah.
So, and then it's each person's different of what they're doing. Right.
Alejandro Tosti is going to be very different.
Exactly. Right. Like some people, like I've maybe read 3 greens ever, and it's usually that like, hey, I need a second view here. What do you think? But you always want to be prepared. So always kind of making sure you're looking. But some players are like, hey, when we get the green, just leave me alone type of stuff. So a lot of learning out there, but definitely got me the itch to get back. And I was just didn't know when that would basically happen.
Yeah. So leading into that, you are a golf professional.
Yeah.
You're not a professional golfer.
Yes.
So what's up with that?
Yeah. So to kind of backstory, how that all ended up happening is worked in tech, got laid off, thought, okay, I've worked in tech for so long, I just got to stay working in tech. Right. So went to another tech job, got laid off, and I was like, okay, I'm done. When I went to that second one, I was like, I don't even want to be here. Right?
Well, we all know the golden handcuffs.
Yeah, exactly. And I didn't want to be there. The money was great, but I didn't want to be there. And I remember saying to my wife, like, we're not going to be making the money we did, but I need something that I enjoy.
Yep.
And obviously had this great opportunity with my buddy Andy McWilliams, who owns all of Celtic Golf Centers. And he was like, hey, I want you to run my Kingston location. We're opening at this point. And at that point I thought, okay, I'll just do club fitting. Well, ended up chatting with Scott McLeod again, who's probably my biggest influence in all of golf, right? Just one of those guys that clear mentor for me. And I just said, like, I'm thinking maybe I'll join the PGA, right? Like if I'm going to do it, let's go all in. And chatted with him. I remember exactly where it was. I went out for breakfast by myself, put in headphones. We had a call, and he was like, here's what you need to know. And I'm sure we'll get into what people do know and don't know about being a PGA member. So went in, signed up, did a couple of little courses, and I was still working. I went back to work at Golf Town after that, and I think maybe just shows how much of golf sicko I was. I didn't need to go right back to work, but like the day I got let go, the first time I went into Golf Town, I was like, hey, like it was like 3 hours after, probably.
Just like a knee-jerk reaction.
Yeah, I was like, hey, I don't want to sit at home. Right? It was the middle of winter. If it was the summer, I probably would have played golf every single day. And I was like, hey, here's what I've done. You know all the guys here, want to hire me. He's like, yeah, I want to hire you right now. Let's do it. So I started working again. And so I had been working in the industry still, got kind of the rust off of the club fitting and learning everything again. And went right back into work. And I chatted with Scott, and he's like, so signed up. then you go and you basically have to do your playing ability test. And at that point, my golf game wasn't great. Like, I had a full-time job. I probably played, I don't know, 30, 40 rounds a year, right?
Yeah.
Which is a lot of golf still. Like, I there's some golf sickos out there.
Let's talk quickly about your playability test.
Yeah.
Because I watched, I didn't watch it live. I watched the scoreboard live. Yeah. And I think, so for context, you are playing in it has to be like, a ratified or a accredited tournament.
Yeah, so I did, it took me 3 times to pass for the record.
Oh, well, I wasn't going to say that. I was going to say you did it first time.
Let's be honest. Yeah.
But I remember watching that scoreboard. You were out at Smuggler's Glen, about half an hour away from here. I think both days, if anyone's close around here, Smuggler's Glen, first hole, par 5. Not a difficult hole, not a long hole by any means, but
a mind fuck.
Very intimidating first shot. You tripled it both days?
Yes.
Tripled it both
without
days.
A lost ball.
Without a lost ball. And I mean, like, I can empathize because this year at that same tournament, put 2, there's basically a massive gorge, put 2 into the gorge. I was 5 off the tee. That was awesome. Anyway,
cool.
But you're like, I'm going to pump your tires here for a second, because to triple that hole, and so you're 3 over after the first hole, you're like, okay, this is my career now. This is what I want to do.
Yeah, definitely start questioning if because of the day before didn't obviously pass.
Yeah. But to triple the first hole and then finish 6 over is, that's a grind, man. That's really well done.
Well, tripled the first, doubled the second, and 3-putt bogeyed the third.
Okay, so you were basically even par.
Yeah, so 6 over through 3. And I've never done this, but I remember 6 over through 3, and I said to myself, stop fucking feeling sorry for yourself.
Yeah.
This is what you want to do. If you want to be a professional, then act like one from here on out.
Yeah.
And there were some super lucky breaks along the way, but it was one of those few rounds where after the first 3 holes where every single shot, when you're just fully locked in on every single shot, like every single shot, my brain was working.
Yeah.
But I don't even know if I ever told you this, but there's this one shot that I'll remember for the rest of the time that basically it was the deal breaker very early. So we got to the 7th hole, which is a par 5, and I hit it down the right side, and it was leaning against a branch, and I was like, can I move this branch? And I basically could tell if I moved it, the ball was going to move, would have been a penalty. So the ball was below it was a thick branch. So basically I had to break this branch to make
when you're swinging.
Make contact with this ball. So I hit the shot, and it's going straight left to the OB, right? Mm-hmm. It's just OB left into
down that left-hand side. Yeah.
It smokes a tree, and as it's going, I'm like, fuck. And in my head, I'm like, it's over. Like, I'm going to be, I think at that point I had gotten back to 3. Like, I came out, I don't know, made some insane birdies.
Back to 3 over at that point.
Yeah, I was 3 or 4 over at that point. And so it hits, goes left, it's going OB. I'm like, I'm going to drop. That's going to be whatever. My 4th shot from here, I got 260 still into this par 5. That's going to be quite the grind, right? And it hits these trees, bounces back out in the fairway. And I also remember, I couldn't tell you any other shots. And I'm not one of those guys like, oh, I played this course, this shot. I don't have that. I don't have that memory. But I remember after that shot saying to myself, well, there's the break that you're getting today.
Yeah, there's the momentum shift.
You might not get another one. You got to grind. And I ended up salvaging a par on that hole. I made a birdie on the next hole or on the 9th or whatever. And I think
birdie on 8 or 9 is good at that course.
I ended up getting to the turn at 3. So basically at that day I had to shoot 6 or 7 over, 7 over, I think, to get through, which for a lot of people, that's all. Yeah, it's a little bit of a mind fuck, especially as you get down the stretch.
Well, and also on any given day, if we go out and I'm like, you got to shoot 7 over today, I'm putting my money on you every time. But to put you in that situation, not only you're playing a tournament, but you're playing for this status, that's a different game.
It changes what you're doing coming down the stretch, right? And there's some really, really good players that didn't, took 5 times, 6 times to get through, right? And it's obviously changed, and they're trying to make it a little easier because you don't need to be a great golfer to be a golf professional. We'll get to that, but it ended up getting through, and from there, was like, okay, let's start to learn about the golf swing and the industry a little bit more. And you got to run a business soon, so let's get cooking. Yeah.
Well, and I mean, again, like I don't know, I didn't know this was going to be Pumps Stefan's Tires episode, but you mentioned club fitting earlier, and I remember, driving has always been a weakness in my game, and you've helped my driving immensely, not just through instruction, but I remember, the first driver I got fit for was with you. Everything from the head and even changing the shaft, and like that was a game changer. So you see the swing and you see the game quite uniquely and quite differently, and in a very good way to what compared to what a lot of other people, I think.
Tell me more about myself. I think I've actually become a better fitter now and knowing more about the golf swing too. So before it was definitely learning the clubs and okay, this club will help from going here and here, which is great, but it's not that next tier level. Like, the best fitters know the golf swing the best too. And I don't I've only been a PGA professional for just over, a year and a half now. And so year and a half of lessons and made a ton of mistakes along the way and think back to some terrible lessons I've given and some great lessons I've given. But all of those have taught me just more about the golf swing and how the equipment plays a part. So I mean, the original question was, what is the difference from a golf professional to a professional golfer? And
well, I think we touched on that with the fact that you shot 6 over. So.
That too. It is it's a completely different thing. Yeah. Could all professional golfers be a golf professional? Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Could Bryson teach somebody the golf swing? I think Bryson knows the golf swing in and out, might be better than most out there. There's some other ones. Padraig Harrington's another one that great teacher as well, right? I watch some of his stuff. But the difference, the golf professional, it depends on which route you're going to. I love the coaching side. I did a lot of coaching in my career in the tech industry, and that's where kind of lined me to go over there, is watching someone improve at something always through your influence, and your coaching was always something that I felt like I was giving back. So never had thoughts that I could ever play at a higher level, even to play in PGA zone events, right? There's some big scores in there. That doesn't mean these people don't know the golf swing in and out.
Oh,
right?
Well, I mean, best analogy I can think of is Bill Belichick. I don't think he played football past high school.
No.
And now arguably, or probably, the best football coach in history.
Yeah, and one of my things, and we don't need to, maybe we do go down this road, but like a lot of times what I don't view it as a red flag, but a yellow flag is when you see a PGA professional talking about their accolades as a player, as the reason why they're good, is always a yellow flag.
Yeah.
And it makes me go, okay, let's dive in more. Because is it, I'm good, so you should just listen to me?
Yeah.
Because there's certain people I know that have played on the PGA Tour and tried teaching and were absolutely horrific at it.
Yeah. Well, it's like at the end of the day, what are you passionate about? We've spoken about my history in water skiing, and some of the best coaches there were absolutely not the best skiers.
No.
Like that's just a fact. And your ability to see and interpret, and to your point as well, understanding the mechanics of the golf swing to not only coach someone, but then put the puzzle pieces together for the clubs that are going to fit them the best. That's all up here. You know?
It's also what makes me think about it too, is that some of these people that played at a really high level, they know their feels, and they say, okay, you want to be feeling this. That doesn't mean it's actually right? So that's why it's always a yellow flag of like, okay, are they actually trying to be curious? And because what I have always tried to do is like, I don't mind being wrong at all. Whether love it is probably not the best term, but right, like if you are curious, that's what's going to make you a better pro. And that's why some of that TPI video earlier is like, it made me go, oh, what I know nothing. Like I never even thought about how your eyes are playing a part in the putting stroke. And like now I've been doing a bunch of research on that. And, hand movements lately is the big thing. And like where your hands should be speeding up and slowing down and almost stopping and yada, yada, yada. So versus there's some people that, got in early. They've been doing it for 20 years. Hey, these are the things that I know work for, but every person's different. Every person's body's different. So it's basically a never ending education system, which makes it why I love it. 'Cause I can get bored pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And different other roles I've had.
Well, and everyone's brain's different too, right? You've got two golfers that maybe have the same problem. Now, the thing that you say to the first person you might have to completely reframe in a different way for it to click for the second person, right?
Oh, absolutely. Like I can think of yourself versus of another person, right? Like I could probably give you harder love and not give you as much like positive affirmation on everything. And that might click better for you versus somebody else where, you know,
because I hate myself.
Yeah, exactly. You hate yourself. And I want to lean into that. Where some, you know, I've had other students where, you know, they come in with no confidence in the world and you get their swing on video and they're just based off the first kind of 5 minutes, you can help by how they're talking to you that you need to start with some positives, right? And I can think of a guy I just did a lesson with last week and he basically came in, he's like, yeah, I've done lessons before. I know I'm over the top. I know I cast. I know I don't rotate, yada, yada, yada. Well, we get him on the TrackMan. We get him on the video. Rotates extremely well. Super, super flexible. His over the top, his club path was -1 to the left. That's as neutral as one can be.
Yeah.
Was there some casting issues? Sure. Casting is, you know, very old school term that everyone, I don't think anyone truly not anyone, but any amateur
just like throwing
golfer.
their hands out.
Sure. But like, I think everyone, they put casting in this big, it's a whole other thing. Right. And so what we did was for the first five minutes when we're breaking down the swing on video, I'm showing him all the positives first. Then I'm showing him, here's the areas we need to work on and how these positives are going to help that. And then like, these are, you know, the negatives right now, and then you go back to those positives, right? So you know, that's the old, you know, compliment shit sandwich, yeah, right.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, that's what that person needed. Versus yourself, you know what you do well, right? And maybe you hop in like, hey, we need to change these right now. So it's just what it's done for me is it allows me to look at every single person as a new puzzle, and not only the swing but also the brain. And luckily, having a lot of experience doing that type of coaching in the past has helped.
Yeah. So another good segue there. So you've had, you know, obviously decent amount of experience working, club fitting, coaching now. What is like, is there something that stands over and above everything else as like a truth that people don't want to hear? Like it's uncomfortable for them, like whether it's club fitting, whether it's coaching, anything like that?
It's a good question. I would say the biggest truth is people need to be open to being wrong and being open to change, right? And that's not just people in their golf swing. That's not just industry professionals. I think golf has been one of these industries, and, you know, we talked about the debates of tradition and things like that. And on some things can be more traditional, on other things I'm not. That it is an industry that is so late to change, right? There is a very prestigious golf club in the UK that just recently, like within the last 2 years, allowed women in their clubhouse.
Yeah.
And you can go back to this podcast that we had with, we talk with Christine Fraser, who's a local here. She is a golf course designer, works with some big names, and she was brought on with her business partner at the time, who's a very well-known name, to come look at changing some things at this course. Well, they couldn't even meet at the golf course that she is helping redesign because women weren't allowed in the clubhouse of this golf. Yeah. And like you look at Augusta National, right? Like they didn't have women members until whatever, you know, black people weren't even allowed
on the property
unless they were a caddy, right? Like it's an industry that is so late to things that they really don't accept being wrong or being accepting of looking at change. And I think the new wave brands, especially in the clothing industry, like is Malbon, like, is it a style I would wear? No. But like the fact that like Augusta National like tells Jason Day, hey, you can't wear that sweater, like why? Right. So it's like those are the things that, you know, it always irks me that like there's a lot of like, here's the rule, but there's no why behind the rule.
Yeah.
And if you can't give me the why of what I'm doing, I'm going to push back. And that might be the old skateboarder in me of like, you know, keep hopping fences. A fence is just in your way to an obstacle on the other side that you want to go to. But why is an industry that has constantly had huge peaks and valleys? And I think the COVID boom is great for the game, but it hurts a lot of these companies that they're like, oh, we'll just keep doing what we're doing because everything's going up.
Yeah.
Well, that's such an old school mindset that isn't going to work.
Well, no, 100%, because I think if you speak to a lot of, whether it's manufacturers, golf courses, everything like that right now, and you go to them and you say, hey, like, I want to help you get more business, especially the golf courses I know around here, they're like, we don't need you. Like, we're good, and that's sort of a false pretense, because who knows in 5 years is that COVID, I mean, it's been 5 years since COVID, that boom has not dropped off. If anything, it's increasing, but it lends itself to, as you say, a lot of stuffiness, a lot of resistant to change, because it's like, hey, business is good, we're good.
Yeah, I look at certain things, like there's a lot of things we do at Celtic that aren't necessarily things that we're looking at as a monetary thing to gain revenue, that we look at it as more of a value add, right? Regripping, for example, right? Like we could charge the same amount as everyone else, but we're not. It's not why we're there. It's a great thing to have. Yeah, it's a great way to show value to people. But like, a lot of people aren't thinking of that. They look purely at, okay, how can I make money off this? And I get it. It's a business, whatever. Yeah. But I think that's the bit. Like, a lot of the faults in the industry come back to those things, and we talked about that earlier with life cycles. Right. Well, there got to a point. Why did the 1 year life cycle start? Well, people were buying clubs more often. Oh, what if we release them more often? Yeah. Well, then they're going to buy the new one. And then it got to a point where it's like, oh, gain 5 yards, gain 5 yards. Well, if we're gaining 5 yards every year since 2010, I should be hitting this driver 450 yards, and I haven't been, right? No. So it's those little things that I think we need some big changes in mindset more than anything. And I think that goes to every single level, even from a PGA Professional standpoint. Like, there's the reason why so many people quit early on, and I'm lucky I didn't have to go through the working in the shop for 40 hours a week, then going and doing my lessons and working 70, 80 hours a week, right? I remember my good buddy Brad Lawrence, I'm sure he'll be on the podcast. He literally said in the first one, if I never joined the golf industry, I probably wouldn't have got divorced the first time. Right? Because it's old tough. Industry of golf professionals was, hey, this is what I did, so this is what you have to do. And I think if you're ever doing that in any industry, you're already behind.
Yeah, no, love that. Absolutely love that. I think, we've spoken about tradition in the game and why tradition is important, but I think a lot of the times tradition can be mistaken for, as you say, these things that are stubbornness. Yeah, exactly. Talking about stubbornness. So next one, if I put you in charge of USGA, RNA, whatever it is, whatever governing body you want for 1 year, you've got an executive order. Lots of executive orders recently. What's something? So it could be a rule. It could be anything. Like, you're like, I need to change that. What is the thing that you would change?
Oh, I wish you gave me that one ahead of time. I mean, my just to be current of what we've chatted about before, I think what I would like to see immediate is definitely more of what they're planning to do with this golf ball. Like, it's very up in the air of what's actually happening, and who's going to adapt. So just a little bit more there. I would like to look at the club head too. Like, let's make drivers smaller. Yeah. Again, but if that's making things better or worse for people, I don't know if that's going to grow the game or shrink the game. I think there's a couple, like, I also think the ruling on when junior golfers are allowed to play at certain golf courses, like, that should just be straight up banned. Like, that's, I get it. There's, when you get to the weekend, the people that have worked all week and these kids are in school, like, you want to make it fair, but like, there's so many things.
Book your tee time.
Yeah, exactly. Book your tee time like everybody else. Like, these are issues more in the States. There's probably definitely issues in Canada with tee time booking systems. Like, there's, Bethpage Black just had a big thing with how their whole looks like it's a fair system.
Well, and I mean, like, you talk about stubbornness. Some of this is just, I'm not sure if it's laziness or incompetence or not knowing technology. Like that problem with Bethpage Black, like that problem's been solved 10 years ago. Like, that's just a technology problem.
Yeah.
In my mind.
But the way they look at it is, well, money's in the bank,
Mhm.
right? And it's a local, it's a municipal course that why do I have to change something? Why do I have to make it more fair for everyone else if our bills are being paid, the money's coming in? So, I mean, there's so many different rules, dress code things that make me annoyed, right? Hats in a clubhouse. Like, I never really understood. It's very old. So, like, I could go on forever. I don't think I have a clear-cut rule, but I think the first one, if those two governing bodies are the big ones that are running this whole golf ball change with very little transparency. Yeah. And that would be the first thing. It was like, hey, here's where we're at.
This is what's happening.
Here's step 2. Here's step 3. Here's when we're releasing all of this. Like, the worst thing for change, and, we know this from working in industry that makes a lot of changes, is that if you don't give people enough information before the change and make them feel like they are part of the change and have a say in the change and why the change is happening, the adaptability of that change and the buy-in to that change is going to be very low.
Well, and no, you're 100% right on the golf ball thing, because I think, as we've discussed, 2028 and then 2030 for the rest of us, can you imagine whether it's a professional event or whether it's your club championship, and we turn up and it's not yet clear, and you got 2 boxes of balls, and you're getting to the first tee, everyone's messing around. What do we do? Like, you're 100% right. It needs to be very clear. It needs to be a long way in advance so that people know what they're doing.
I also just want to know how it's going to affect the customer from a dollar standpoint, right? Like, if we're launching, and again, we don't have to go too deep into this, but like, let's say we're launching this golf ball 2029. Well, everyone's buying golf balls in 2028. Is there a buyback program?
Yeah, exactly.
Things along those lines that I'm sure they've thought about it, but like, does the USGA and R&A have enough money to be buying back balls from people?
I mean,
there's going to be some companies that, I'm going to call it now, there'll be some companies that golf balls that right now from big manufacturers that will pull out of making golf balls.
Yeah. And I mean, like, again, we've talked about the golf ball thing to death, so I won't go into it. But I would hope the cost is going to come down, because, again, if we're rolling the ball back, does that mean these companies can just keep reinvesting to get it back to where it was, or is it going to be like a cap? Because if it's a cap, effectively they can pull that R&D out of making balls.
Well, from a company standpoint, how are you going to make your golf ball price go down when you are now investing? You're basically creating 2 research and development companies within your company. Like, if I'm Titleist, right? Like, I have my current ball that I want to make sure keeps getting better, very, at this point, incremental changes year over year. Well, they probably right now also have a different R&D company that is developing the new golf ball. Like, that cost is going up. How's the cost of the ball going?
Well, and I mean, this adds to why this whole thing is ridiculous. I would much rather see my thing. If you want to ask me the same question in reverse, no ball rollback. It's a cap. There has to be some sort of objective criteria to be like, okay, this is where the golf ball is. Now you've got. And I don't know if this is my theory. I don't know if it works this way in practice. But then there's no more golf ball R&D. You just make the same thing over and over and over again. You can pull out that R&D spend. Cost of balls goes down. You can put that R&D spend into, I don't know, clubs or training facilities or whatever else it is. That would be my thing.
Well, I think it makes the answer I said almost perfect. That, like, no one fucking knows what the hell's going on.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's why the problem's going to be so bad. I'm sure the Titleist of the world, the TaylorMades of the world, the Callaways of the world, those big ball manufacturers, Srixons of the world, are in talks with them so they know where they need to be. But at the end of the day, who makes the golf industry is the paying customer.
Oh, yeah, and we've got no idea.
The professional game doesn't make the golf industry. If the professional game went away, the golf industry really wouldn't change that drastically. Golf courses would still exist. People would still be playing at the same rate. Again, that's my only answer to that question is, like, let's get some transparency.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I'm really glad you didn't say fairway divots.
No, there's no way to change that.
We'd have a whole episode on, man, you know what we should do? We should do an episode where we just go through social media comments and just roast people for fairway divot conversations.
Love that.
My God. Okay, let's move on to you as a golfer. Tell us a little bit about what's in your bag right now.
Sure.
Favorite club, most hated club, and why?
Ooh. Yeah, so what's in bag? I am a Titleist staff professional.
Shout out Titleist.
Shout out to Titleist. Yeah, so basically every club in my bag is a Titleist. I'm playing currently the GT3 driver with a Acra shaft in it. I'm not the smartest guy with shafts. I know it's got a Japanese logo on it and it's maroon. I forget the name of it. I should know it.
And quick fun fact about Acra.
Yeah.
Founded in Kingston, Ontario.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is super cool.
Yeah, they're part of the True Temper family now.
Okay.
Some
True
of the
Temper
best,
is
True Temper's a shaft company.
Oh, okay.
But they also make hockey sticks and skates and stuff too, which is really interesting. I'm gonna get you the name. It is the Shogun series. It's their top of their line series. Love that shaft. Probably my favorite golf shaft I've ever had in driver. And then same thing. I go GT2 3 wood, sometimes a 4 wood, and a 7 wood. 7 wood can sometimes be a 3 iron, depending on where I'm playing. But 7 wood's been a new one where love that club. Just launches in a new window. I always used to carry a 3 iron. Eventually realized that wasn't for me. Love the 7 wood. A little bit more versatility there, especially when you're approaching, greens from a distance, long par 3s, super long par 3s, grab that 7 wood. Just standard 4-through pitching wedge, play with the T150 irons in there. And then I go 50, 54, 60 in the Vokies. And then I just got my ninth Scotty Cameron putter. I've experimented with a lab putter. I've kind of done it all. To answer the question, favorite club in the bag, I would go with my 60 degree. It's just basically my wedge game's always been the best part of my game because I miss so many greens that I've had to learn how to.
You're the Jordan Spieth of our group for sure.
Yeah, if I'm playing well, I'm getting up and down a lot. If I'm playing really well, I don't have to.
No.
But if it's a grinding round, I'm chipping and putting really well, or mainly chipping really well to really close. And then I wouldn't say it's my hated club. The club I have the most contentious relationship with is the driver.
Yeah.
And it's just the one that when it's great, I'm playing my best. And that's everybody. That's just what the game is these days. But it's just
it can kind of dictate your round.
Absolutely. And I had a few years. I think I had full blown driver yips for a couple of years where I couldn't get off the tee. I think I was averaging like 3 or 4 drops lost balls into hazards per round a few years ago. I just could not get off the tee.
Yeah.
And basically last summer, I used to hit a big draw. Everything was a draw. And last summer, I get off work or working on the range, whatever. And all summer, I just worked to neutralize. And a lot of people, the old adage was, oh, you don't want to be neutral, then you'll create a two-way miss. Every single person in the world has a two-way miss. They don't believe they do, but if you look at dispersion patterns of your target, there's going to be a left and a right.
You're going to hit it left and right. Every person is going to hit it left and right.
You're going to hit it both ways of your target. So if you can neutralize that, how far left and right doesn't, might not necessarily change drastically, but you're able to move your target. So I feel I got to keep working on it, but if I keep working at this, I'm going to play my best golf, hopefully next year, because I've gotten from being like a +3, 4 path out to the right with kind of big draws and having to really shut the face and use way more of my hands to really neutralizing and trying to keep nice steady hands to hit a more straighter golf ball is basically.
Well, I probably consistency is the word that comes to mind, right?
Oh yeah, there was no consistency with that with the big draw, because then if I'm just playing that shot shape and that's the only thing I can see, then I was picking way worse targets off the tee, aiming more right. Well, then again, we talked about the dispersion. Well, I'm going to miss right of that. I'm going to miss left of that. But then I always found if I aimed straight, then it was always to the left. And I basically had to break down the swing to the studs to fix that.
Yeah. Well, and I think so I'm a big advocate, maybe just for my own game, of having a shot shape. I know for me, I'm more comfortable with a draw. If you look on tour right now, I'd say 80%, big growth in the fade. Most of the guys that we're watching are hitting a fade. For me, when it comes to shot shape, so I agree with you 100%. Neutralize is good because I think that is for consistency. Having a shot shape is also good. And then people debate. They say, well, a draw's better than a fade or a fade's better than a draw. For me, all it is what shape can you rely on consistently? Because for me, I can hit a fade, but my fade quickly turns into a slice. And that was like you with the draw, right? Can quickly turn into a hook.
Yeah, I do not believe in changing your shot shape unless absolutely possible. My shot shape, ideally, right now, I'm trying to see a little bit of a fade, ideally, or a little bit of a draw. Basically, I'm going for the straight ball, and I go to the course each day, and what it is that day is what I'm playing that day and what I'm looking for. Dustin Johnson had a great quote. They asked him, like, how many times did you try to hit a draw off the tee last year? He said, try? Yes, 0.
Yeah.
Right? It didn't matter the hole. Big dog leg left. What's he trying to do? Hit a fade.
Yeah.
Right? Because you're not good enough. No one is that good. Tiger was one of the rare ones that was working the ball both ways. Tiger's 1A or 1B, depending on who you're talking about. But if you really look back at it, he didn't do it as often as people think. The difference is he was on TV more than everyone else. So maybe he hit a draw once or twice around because he felt he had to a certain pin. Most guys are doing that, right? But like if you look at a Patrick Reed, one shape, just big draws, and like, oh well, what if that big that pin off to the right? Well, he'll just aim at that and it'll be left of it. Cool. Yeah. You want to try to play the same shape every single time, but I think there's a lot of learning and knowing how to play both when things get a little squirrely. Because if you're only playing, you only see a draw that day, and now you're hitting everything right all day, well,
you're fighting it.
So that's where my struggle is that I was hitting everything left for a long time that I basically, I got to neutralize so I know what it feels like for the ball to go right. I feel like I'm striking it better. Game's still a little inconsistent, getting to that point in the winter right now where not getting time to practice. So got to just make some more time for it.
Well, you talk about Tiger really quick. You mentioned Tiger, and I think back to what you mentioned, 10 or 15 minutes ago about your buddy who came in for a lesson. He's like, oh, I'm over the top. Tiger Woods' swing path is over the top. Yeah. He's negative swing path.
Yeah. Not a bad thing.
It
depends.
Exactly.
Again, we're talking, I've had some guys that are, there's a big difference of -1, which is very neutral. Anything from the 2 to 2 range, I'm calling super, super neutral, right? When we get to that 5 to 10 range, either side of things, we're going to have to work on that because it's just not sustainable. There are some players that you'd see out on the PGA Tour that I'm sure play like that. I'm sure if you looked at a Zach Johnson, who I absolutely despise.
I think a lot of people do.
Just the worst. Ruined the Masters and ruined the Open Championship at St. Andrews for me. But that's neither here nor there.
Ruined the Ryder Cup 2 years ago, maybe?
Oh, no, he made that. It was the best thing ever did. He might be like a +5, +4, whatever it is. But he, that's
+5. So
+5
into
paths.
Yeah. So swinging. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Or swing direction, however you want to look at it. There's some people say swing direction is more important. Yada, yada, yada. But we're talking the exception versus the rule. And a lot of people, like, they see, swing your swing. Look at Jim Furyk. He made a career out of it. That's the exception. Right? I don't teach the exception unless you are exceptional, right? Within that exception, right? And there's ways we can do that. But if you look at the top 50 players, 75 players, 100 players in the world, where they are at the top of their backswing and where they are at impact are very similar to one another.
Yeah, 100%.
And to change that because one person does it, same with like footwork. What Scotty does, awesome. Don't change it. Best in the world.
Don't try and do that.
But don't try to do that because he's doing that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, 100%. Alrighty, couple more before we wrap up. I got one more potentially long question for you before we do a quick fire round to finish up. We traveled this year, both internationally and within Canada. Had a lot of great rounds at some amazing courses. Both domestically and elsewhere. Tell me about, because you are a golf sicko. Tell me about your top 10 courses. You run through the whole list. I don't know, pick some out that you maybe want to highlight. But run me through where are the best courses you've played. But it maybe not necessarily the best course, but if someone said, "Hey, where do you want to play again?" You're like, "I'm going back there."
Sure. Yeah, I'll go 10 to 1 here. I'm going to start with some honorable mentions that I could have thrown in the 10 spot. And the 10 spots, a couple people are like, really? But Crowbush out in PEI is a really cool course. I've played the TPC Scottsdale Champions course. Haven't played the other one. for the real golf sickos out there that have played both, most people say they prefer that one. Haven't played the other one.
Sorry, prefer the one that you've played.
Yeah, not the one that tournament's on.
Oh, interesting. They've got 36 on the same property there, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Kind of right in between. It's huge property. Just massive amount of space. It's crazy how much space golf takes. Played a bunch of different ones in Arizona. Beacon Hall in Toronto is another one that I loved. We can get into some St. Andrews. They have 7 different courses, now 8 different courses out there.
Wow.
I played most of them. The Island, we played that in Ireland. Really cool course. Want to see it again. Conditions were real tough.
50-mile-an-hour winds.
Real tough. Wasn't playing my best. Was just absolutely exhausted at that point in the trip.
7th round in 7 days, I think.
Yeah. So I was pretty toast. But those are on my honorable mentions. But yeah, if you give me 10 courses, these are just my favorites. Doesn't mean they're the best. Some of these courses that I just mentioned are definitely going to be higher
playing
rated.
them.
Number 10, Smuggler's Glen, just at about 30, 40 minutes from here. I love playing that golf course. Every course is fun, feels kind of Muskoka vibes, right along the St. Lawrence there. There's no hole out. There's one hole out there where every time like this is a dumb hole, but after that, like I love every hole out there.
Which hole?
Not a big fan of 4. The par 5 there.
Yeah.
That being said, I don't know what you do that piece of land.
Yep.
They did what they could.
See, I like that hole.
Yeah. Well, there you go. That's what makes golf interesting. Number 9, Cobble Beach. Very similar to that, where I find, and it could be the vibes of when I'm there, who I'm there with. I've been there 3 times. Every single time I've been there, we've had a blast. We stay on property. Every hole's fun. Beautiful views throughout. There's, again, maybe one hole where I'm like, I don't know what you do with this, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
It's the 10th hole. Who really cares? It's not that big of a deal. But it's just a fun golf course.
Yeah, I love I think the 9th is my favorite hole. And I mean, if you're staying in the cabins, you're overlooking the small pond, the 9th fairway, Lake Ontario.
No, try again.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I am Canadian, but which lake is it? You don't know anyway.
Yeah, I know.
We'll move on. But just that hole, you're coming down, and the lake on the left hand side, that is an awesome hole. Love that hole.
No, they're just all fun. I need to know that. I want to say Huron, but I
think it is Huron.
Well, I'm not a geography guy. Not
I'll
person.
look it up. You move on to your next course.
I know we're both. It is Lake Huron. Nailed it.
It is Lake Huron.
Next course is Carnoustie. Played Carnoustie on my first trip out to Scotland in 2023. Just had a great day.
Yeah.
Got it in. I'll never play in that weather again. No wind.
Wow.
We were the last tee time of the day. I actually didn't get to play the 18th hole because it was dark. We played the 17th hole using our cell phone flashlights. We played with our caddy, Sean, from St. Andrews, who brought us out there. Picked us up in his car after his loop that day, drove us there, drove us back. Just a really cool course. Carnoustie is one where a lot of people are like, is it a must play when you're there? For a lot of people say no. I like the challenge, right?
Yeah.
Like probably played my best round when we were in St. Andrews there.
Yeah.
And it was, it's
also Carnoustie is in like St. Andrews.
It's about an hour. It's about an hour north. It's a little west of Dundee, just across the water. Apparently, at one point, a long time ago, someone challenged Gary Player to swim across there, and he apparently did it. I don't know. Gary Player's insane. So,
are we playing that next year?
Yes,
when we go,
we're playing Carnoustie next year.
Love it.
Crail Golfing Society, also in St. Andrews. This is going to be a little bit of a trend here. Really cool course. Absolute chaos. Every hole runs beside another hole, basically crisscrossing. There's times you got to wait because someone's teeing off.
Yeah.
They basically jammed the first 13 holes into like where most courses are putting 9. So it's chaos. Beautiful golf course. Amazing. Dates way back. 2 golf courses on property. I'm talking about the Balcomie links. I forget what the name of the other one is, but just a great golf course. You can play it every single day. Every single day you wouldn't get bored.
Yeah.
This one for the people of the Scottish links, people are going to call me insane for this one. Very contentious relationship, especially for the people in this area. But the Castle course at St. Andrews, I love that golf course.
Yeah.
Why do they hate it? It's crazy. The greens, when they first built them, were all tricked up, tons of undulation. They actually settled them down. And when you see this golf course, you're like, these are settled. What do they look like before?
Right.
The first time I played it, we went over. I was going to London for work. We made a quick detour up there for 2 days. We played it. We had rental clubs. I think I shot 96, and I had the time of my life. The 17th hole is giant gorge that you have to hit over, and you're basically teeing up right by the gorge. I remember my dad being shaking because he thought he was going to fall in, was nowhere near it.
Yeah.
But just one of those courses that is just so much fun. And a lot of what I'm talking about is it comes back to fun, right?
Yeah.
It's just super fun. So 6 is the Castle course.
We're coming back home for number 5.
Yeah. Number 5, Hamilton Golf Country Club. Kind of special to me in the sense of first time caddying on the PGA Tour, but just a perfect golf course. Par 70, a little different. Each 9's a little different from one another. There is 27. I played all 27 on the property. I think they have the right routing when they do host the Canadian Open out there. Just there's nothing where I'm like, why is this here? This isn't the best hole.
Yep.
There's maybe the one, I think it's 7. I'm not the biggest fan of that hole. But outside of that, just a great piece of property, and I can understand why it's got a 10-year wait list to get on there. It's just an awesome property, and I'll try to get you out there this year.
Yeah, love it.
All right, we're getting down to 4, 3, 2, and 1 here. 4 is Lahinch.
That's a popular one for me.
Yeah,
too.
Lahinch, we played there this year, and I could play that every single day. It's one of those ones, if you called me and said, hey, we can play Carnoustie tomorrow, you just got to get on a flight, probably not going. Same with the Castle course. If you say, hey, we can play Lahinch tomorrow, I'd get in the doghouse for it.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I'd be like, hey, I'm going. I'm sorry. I'll pay for your parents to come watch the kids with you, but you can come with me. But, like, it's one of those ones where, yeah, if they call, I'm going to play.
Well, and we didn't get a chance to kind of spend much time there. It seems like a super cool town, too. Like, really, like, just we walked in there, and I guess probably because of the magnitude of the day and where we were playing, but it was just like vibes. It's just such a cool vibe.
Such a good course. It's hosting the Walker Cup next year. It's hosting the Irish Open. A lot of great history.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I like courses too like that where you literally can't take driver on every hole. Like it's one where you gotta lay up sometimes way back, because if you hit driver, no matter what, like even your best drive in the world is going to get fucked. Right. And it's another one where I wanted another take. I know of 2 holes where I didn't even see the golf hole. Like one of them, I played the whole hole and never even touched the fairway. Never walked a step down the fairway because I was just so far on the other side and just hacking through the weeds. And
I don't think I've ever played a course where I, like, on par 4s, where I was playing 4 bogey so much.
Oh,
like
absolutely.
out of position on the first shot. Okay, like, you are not getting on the green. Get this back in position. Get it on the green. Hope for a miracle putt, but hopefully 2 putt for a bogey.
Yeah,
like, I've never had that as much as Lahinch.
Yeah, there was a couple shots out there where I haven't had, and then the 4th hole is just a magnificent par 5 that you can't even see the green because of the giant mound, and then the 5th hole, the Dell, is probably my favorite hole in the world, par 3, where you literally cannot see the green.
That was the most fun par 3 I've ever played.
Yeah, giant hill with a rock that shows you where the pin is. Yeah. And then, it's just one of those golf courses where if you built it now, if I built a golf course like Lahinch today here, people are like, this is the dumbest golf course, but you just don't get it.
Yeah.
Right? And that's what makes it great, is that's where the land had. Those dunes have been there longer than you.
Yeah.
This is where
it's got character.
Yeah, this is where the goats cut down what looked like a green. Let's put a green here.
Yeah, exactly.
Character.
And on the Irish theme, moving to number 3.
Carn's another one. It's worth the drive. You go to Ireland, find a way to go to Carn. You'll never play anything like it. Is it the best conditioned course in the world? Hell no. Is it one of the coolest courses in the world? Absolutely.
It felt like each hole was on a different property. Like,
it just felt like you were on a roller coaster. And we apparently didn't even play the best 9 out there.
Yeah.
And there was a par 3 that was 168 yards up a hill. I think it was playing like 180, that I smoked a 3-wood as hard as I could and barely got it on there. I would say I shot 79 that day, not my lowest score by any means of the equation, and I'm going to put it down as the best round of my life.
I've known you for, played golf with you for 3 years. That was the best I've ever seen you play. And for context, it was blowing
40 with gusts of 70. Or
it was
something like that.
68 kilometers per hour that day, which is what is that? 45 miles an hour.
Yeah,
it was tough, and I remember seeing your scorecard 79, and I was like, holy shit, that was outstanding.
On 18, I had 140 yards to the pin, and I flushed a 5-iron better than I could ever flush a 5-iron, and it came up 20 yards short.
Yeah. Well, I think our drives on, because the 18th, you're walking into 18, you're sort of beaten up from the wind, and then you're like, we got a 400-yard par 4 into 45 miles an hour. I think our drives maybe went 200 yards.
I think mine went nowhere. I hit like a low duck hook. That was on purpose, just to get it rolling. Yeah. So Karn, it's another one where
shout out Murray, our caddy there. What a beauty.
Karn could have been one.
Oh yeah,
it could have been one. I'm gonna go for 2. I'm gonna go the old course. A lot of people
I'm surprised at that.
A lot of people probably would have thought it was 1. I love the old course. There's not a walk like the old course, the walk up 18. You're never going to feel that way on any other golf course. Haven't played Augusta, can't tell you, but even that, just because of everyone's around, it just feels like everyone's welcome. It's public.
Yeah.
You
closed on Sundays too, right?
Closed on Sundays.
Yeah.
So it's a different, there's a lot of holes out there that, a lot of people would see that problem like, why is this so highly rated? But I think the more you play it, the more you get used to it, the more you learn about it, the different times you played it. I only played it once, but you can understand why how they made such a good golf course so long ago. And obviously there's been some changes, and they're making some changes to kind of meet the standards of current play while also keeping in line with the history of that golf course. There's something just completely different about that golf course. And I remember when I played, I didn't play well at all and had to hit out of bunkers backwards 4 times. But every single shot where it's like, you could be pissed, like, no, this is the experience, just enjoy it. And again, another one where if you built the 17th hole over a hotel, now people are like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
No, it's just so cool.
Number 1, and I'm excited to hear about this one because we are playing this next year.
Ely Golf House Club, and just in the town of Ely, about 20 minutes south of St. Andrews. Par 68, 16 par 4s, 2 par 3s. All the quirk in the world that I love. In this small town, you go through the town. After the 3rd hole, you tee off on the 4th hole. You can go into the 19th hole, which is a pub. You can stop there and have a drink, bring it on the golf course. I believe the 13th or 14th hole might have been rated the best par 4 in all of Scotland.
Really?
It's so cool. It's fun as hell. Beautiful, beautiful views. Some people say it's older than the old course. I don't really know. Who's to say? It's kind of like who invented hockey type of deal. But just one of those ones where tomorrow you call me, say, hey, we can go play it. I'm finding a way. Finding a way. It's just really, really damn cool.
Well, and looking forward to next year, on your list here, there's hopefully, if we get on the old course, there's at least 3 here. If we get on the old course, that we'll play next year, maybe 4. I think is it.
Hopefully, like we should be playing Carnoustie, the Castle course. I'm hoping to get us over to Crail one day,
mate. If you got round 5 of your top 10 courses next year, that'd be a
good year.
All right, wrap up here. We've got 2 more to finish. You wrote down your bucket list top 10, but I'm going to cut it shorter.
Oh,
you got to pick your number 1 bucket list course. And it can't be Augusta.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. I mean, look, everyone's going to say Augusta. Okay, so let's just assume that. Give me a good one.
I don't even know if it would be number 1.
Interesting.
It's probably, let's be honest, it probably would be.
Yeah.
Like, I'm probably just trying to be a contrarian.
Maybe not for the golf course itself, but just the fact of what Augusta is.
Yeah, just to say you did it.
Yeah.
Damn, that got me good.
I know. I threw you for a loop there.
I'm going to go way off the board here.
Okay.
The old course in reverse.
Oh, no. Do they do that?
They just had a ballot, didn't win. They do it every single year. So you basically enter this ballot. You get 3 rounds. You play the old course reverse. You play the old course, and then you go play the Castle course.
That's
at
sick.
The price of what you'd pay for the old course.
So how does that work? So on the tee box of 1, you go down
you go to 17. So that's
green.
the original routing. They played it that way up until I think the 60s or 70s, and then now the routing has stayed that routing since then. No Laying Up did a great video on it, and when you see it that way, the old course makes more sense, because there's a couple holes I think of 10, 11, 12 at the old course where there's a reason why if you are they don't usually let carts out there, but if you have a medical issue or you're over a certain age, you can get a cart. Well, if you take a cart, you have to take a caddy, because on that hole, when you are standing up there, like, this is easy, there's nothing out there. It's just a fairway. No, you just can't see the bunkers because they're actually originally played the other way up the hill. So people had driven over the mounds into the bunkers with the cart. So I think that would be one. Is that realistic? It's going to be very difficult to say.
I like that one though, because it's like, okay, Augusta, we've spoken about this. We're never playing Augusta unless you guys all subscribe and we get 1 million subscribers and somehow win the media draw. Old course, getting onto the old course is tough. Getting on the old course reverse, within the realms of possibility though. Yeah, and that would be
for
sick.
Sure. Either that or probably like a Royal Melbourne.
Yeah.
Royal Melbourne, Australia.
We've got to get down to Australia, New Zealand, man. I got free accommodation. Yeah, probably in both countries.
Yeah, it's a hard sell because we'd be gone for at least 2 weeks.
At least. I mean, I've been down there for 2 weeks. It's tough with the jet lag. It's 2.5, 3 is the minimum.
Yeah.
Wait till the kids are grown up and we'll do it.
Yeah, we'll bring the kid. There you go.
Quick one to wrap up. Quick fire round. I need a yes, no, or pick one.
Okay.
No context. Okay. Jack or Tiger?
Tiger.
Distance or accuracy?
Distance.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Would you, right now, I can say you can be Rory McIlroy, you own the Grand Slam, or you can be Scotty Scheffler, potentially in the prime of his career?
Give me Rory.
Okay. YouTube golf, yay or nay?
Yay.
Yay. This one's easy. Well, easy for me. Links or Parkland?
Yeah, you know the answer.
He's a Links
I don't
man.
like trees.
I also know the answer to this one. Hybrids or long irons?
I despise hybrids. I hook them off the planet.
And last one, Ireland or Scotland? You can include Ireland, Scotland, or Northern Ireland.
I'm going to give you such a middle answer. Give me the golf in Scotland, but the culture of Ireland.
Yeah.
It's different there. The nightlife is better. You can't find a stranger in Ireland. It's that one. If you put a gun to my head, if you can only go to one for the rest of my life, that'd be a really hard one. And I think I'd end up going to Ireland.
Wow, that one does surprise me. I honestly, when I put this down, I was like, he's doing Scotland. I haven't been to Scotland. Again, we're going next year. Cannot agree with you more on Ireland. Like, everywhere you went, like, we played some very, not private courses, but like very very nice courses. Ran into members on the range, and sometimes you're at these courses, you kind of like, oh, okay, I'm gonna not keep my distance, but as members come up, ask you where you're from, thank you for coming to visit their golf course, give you some tips for the round, tell you to enjoy it. Are you having it could not agree with you more on how
it doesn't matter where you went to. That's how it always felt, especially obviously having a different accent to them. They right away are going to be like, hey, where are you from? Like, oh, you should go here. You want a great pint of Guinness? Go here. Yeah. Like, we had a caddy literally write down in our phone in a notes app, like, all these different places we should go in this small town we were going. Right. And it's just, it makes you think of, how can I just be nicer to other people in that sense as well?
I felt so relaxed after that holiday. Like, it was.
And then Scottish people are different personality. Always love all my time there as well. Like, I would say, St. Andrews, if you told me, like, that's my happy place if I could go back every single day, but just different. That's all.
Yeah. Really looking forward to next year. Well, guys, that's a wrap. Episode 5. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, all of that. We will be back next week, episode 6. We're going to flip the tables.
Oh, I got some deep stuff.
We're not even going to talk about golf. We're going to do a therapy session.
Yeah, we're going to lay on the
couch. So as always, please help us out. Throw a subscribe button on YouTube. Follow us on socials. We will see you again next week for episode 6. And have a great break. See you soon.
Cheers.